Arjun sat quietly in his private jet, watching the clouds float by as the plane made its way toward his hometown, Willow Creek. After so many years, he was finally coming back. He looked out the window and thought about all the time that had passed since he last saw the place he once called home. He was no longer the poor boy who had left with just a small bag and a heart full of dreams. Now, Arjun was a billionaire. His company had grown bigger than he had ever imagined, and he had traveled to many countries. Yet, no matter how far he went or how much money he made, something inside him had always been missing. Today, Arjun wanted to find that missing piece. He wanted to see the man who had raised him, his adopted father, Mr. Ramesh. It was Mr. Ramesh who had taken him in when he had no one else. When Arjun was just a small child, lost and alone, it was Mr. Ramesh who had opened his home and heart. But rumors had reached Arjun over the last few months, rumors that made him uneasy. People said that Mr. Ramesh was no longer living in the big house. Some said he had fallen on hard times. Others whispered that he was begging for food from neighbors. Arjun could not believe it. How could the man who had given him everything now be in such trouble? The plane landed softly, and Arjun took a deep breath. He was ready to find the truth. The town of Willow Creek looked much the same, with its narrow streets and old trees lining the sidewalks. The shops and houses had small changes, but the heart of the town still beat strong. As Arjun walked through the familiar streets, his mind went back to the years he had spent here. He remembered the small house where he and Mr. Ramesh had lived. The house was old but full of love. It was where Arjun had learned to read, where he had first dreamed of a better life. He smiled, thinking about Mr. Ramesh's kind face and the way he would laugh softly when telling stories from his youth. The memories made his heart ache. He had missed this man more than words could say. When Arjun reached the old neighborhood, he stopped in front of the house where Mr. Ramesh used to live. The paint was peeling, and the garden was overgrown with weeds. It was clear that no one had taken care of the place for a long time. Arjun knocked on the door, but no one answered. He looked around, hoping to find a clue. Just then, an elderly woman came out of the house next door. She looked surprised to see Arjun but smiled gently. "Hello, young man," she said. "Can I help you?" Arjun nodded. "I'm looking for Mr. Ramesh. He used to live here. Do you know where he is?" The woman's smile faded. She looked down for a moment and then said quietly, "I'm afraid I don't know. It's been many months since he was here. Some say he is not well." Arjun's heart sank. "Is there anyone else I can ask?" She nodded. "Yes. You should talk to Mr. Singh. He lives a few houses down. Maybe he has seen something." Arjun thanked her and walked toward the next street. His steps felt heavy. He did not want to believe that his father was in trouble. When he reached Mr. Singh's small house, Arjun knocked on the door. After a few moments, a middle-aged man opened it. "Yes," the man asked, looking at Arjun carefully. "My name is Arjun," he said. "I'm looking for Mr. Ramesh. Do you know where he is?" Mr. Singh hesitated for a moment. Then he motioned for Arjun to come inside. "Please, come in," he said. Arjun stepped inside the modest home. The smell of fresh bread and spices filled the air. Mr. Singh led him to a small table. "I'm sorry to say this, but I have seen Mr. Ramesh recently. He has been coming to my house almost every day, asking for food." Arjun's eyes widened. "Begging for food?" Mr. Singh nodded. "Yes. It's hard to see a proud man like him in that state. But he never complains. He is very humble. Arjun's mind raced. How had things come to this? He had worked so hard to build a life, yet, somehow, the man who had given him everything was struggling just to eat. Where is he now? Arjun asked urgently. Mr. Singh shook his head. He doesn't stay in one place for long. Sometimes he sits by the market square, other times near the temple. He looks tired and weak. Arjun stood up, feeling a sudden surge of determination. I have to find him. I need to see him. Mr. Singh looked at him kindly. Be careful, Arjun. He's not the same man you remember. Arjun left the house and walked slowly toward the market square. The sun was setting, casting long shadows on the dusty streets. As he turned the corner, he saw a thin figure sitting on the ground, near a small group of neighbors. The man's clothes were worn and dirty, and his head was bowed. Arjun's heart clenched. He stepped closer, calling softly, Father. The man looked up slowly. His eyes were tired, but when they saw Arjun, something inside them lit up. It was a moment Arjun would never forget. Mr. Ramesh stood up with difficulty, and tears filled his eyes. My son, he whispered. You came back. Arjun dropped to his knees, holding his father's hands tightly. The years of distance, pain, and worry seemed to melt away in that one moment. I'm here now, Father. I will never leave you again. Arjun stayed by his father's side that evening as the town grew quiet and the stars began to shine in the sky. The sight of Mr. Ramesh, the strong and kind man who had raised him, now so frail and worn, was hard to believe. Arjun wanted to understand how this had happened. Father, Arjun said gently, tell me what happened. Why are you here, begging for food? Where is our home? Mr. Ramesh sighed deeply and looked away for a moment before answering. Son, I never wanted you to worry. I thought I could manage alone, but things changed, and I lost everything. Arjun listened carefully as his father began to explain. Years ago, after Arjun left for the city, Mr. Ramesh had stayed in the house, hoping Arjun would come back someday. The house was old, and though it held many memories, it was difficult to keep up with repairs. At first, he managed by working small jobs here and there. But then the economy of the town got worse. Many people lost their work, and even the neighbors struggled. Slowly, the bills piled up, and the money ran out. Mr. Ramesh had no choice but to sell small things from the house to pay the debts. I did not want to bother you, Arjun, he said softly. You had your own life and dreams. I wanted to be strong for you, but I became weak instead. Arjun's eyes filled with tears. He had never imagined his father going through so much pain alone. Why didn't you tell me? Arjun asked, his voice breaking. I didn't want you to feel guilty or lose hope, Mr. Ramesh said. I thought I could find a way. But after losing the house, I had nowhere to go. The neighbors helped sometimes, but it was not enough. Arjun squeezed his father's hands. We will fix this. Together. Mr. Ramesh smiled weakly. I have one regret. When you left, I promised I would make a better life for you. I failed. You gave me more than a house or money, Arjun said firmly. You gave me love, care, and hope. That is what made me strong. For the first time in years, Mr. Ramesh's eyes sparkled with pride. Thank you, my son. You are kind beyond words. The two sat together in silence, holding on to the moment. The next morning, Arjun woke early. He had a plan to help his father and the town that had raised him. But before that, he wanted to learn more about what had really happened. He asked Mr. Singh to come over for tea. As they sat together, Arjun asked questions about the town and his father's last years there. "The town has changed," Mr. Singh said. "Many people left to find work elsewhere. The small businesses closed. It became hard for anyone to survive." Arjun nodded. "And what about Mr. Ramesh? Did he have any other family or friends?" "Not much," Mr. Singh said. "You are the only son he ever cared for. The neighbors tried to help, but when someone loses their home, it's easy for them to disappear." Arjun felt a fire inside him. He had to do more than just help his father, he wanted to help the whole town. That day, Arjun and Mr. Ramesh walked through the streets of Willow Creek. Arjun showed his father the places he remembered: the old school, the small park, the market where they used to buy fresh fruits. "See, father," Arjun said with a smile, "this place still has beauty. It just needs a little hope." Mr. Ramesh looked around, tears filling his eyes. "I never thought I would see you again," he said. "You remind me of the boy who dreamed big." Arjun's heart swelled with love and sadness at the same time. As they walked, Arjun noticed many faces he recognized. Some looked older and tired, others hopeful but worn. He realized that the town was not just a place. It was the people who lived there, people who needed help, kindness, and a chance. That evening, back in the small rented room they had found for the night, Arjun made a promise to himself and his father. "I will bring change here, father," he said. "Not just for you, but for everyone who lives in Willow Creek." Mr. Ramesh smiled, the first real smile in a long time. "I believe in you, Arjun. You are the hope this town needs." Over the next few days, Arjun visited old friends, neighbors, and even strangers. He talked to them, listened to their stories, and learned about their struggles. Every story was different but shared the same pain, loss, fear, and uncertainty. Arjun's heart ached with every story, but also grew stronger. He realized that his wealth could do more than buy things. It could change lives. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Arjun sat with his father on the porch of the rented house. The town lights twinkled in the distance. "Father," Arjun said quietly, "I want to start by helping you first. Then we will help others." Mr. Ramesh reached out and took Arjun's hand. "I have no words to thank you, son." Arjun smiled softly. "You gave me the courage to dream. Now, it is time to dream for others." The night was calm, filled with the sound of crickets and the cool breeze. For the first time in years, Arjun felt hope not just for himself, but for his father, his town, and the future. The morning sun rose slowly over Willow Creek, bathing the town in warm golden light. The air was filled with the scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers, a quiet reminder that even after the darkest nights, a new day always comes. Arjun woke up early, his mind full of plans and hope. Today was the day he would begin to rebuild not just his father's life, but the entire town's future. After a simple breakfast with Mr. Ramesh, Arjun stepped outside, determined to put his ideas into action. His first stop was the old community center, a small building in the heart of the town that had long been abandoned. Its walls were cracked and the roof sagged in places, but Arjun saw potential. With excitement in his eyes, Arjun spoke to the group of neighbors who had gathered around. "I want to restore the center. It will be a place where everyone can come for help, learn new skills, and find hope." The people looked at each other in surprise. Many had lost faith in change, but something about Arjun's confidence sparked a small flame of belief. Mr. Ramesh stood beside his son, proud and hopeful. "This town has strength," he said. "We just need to remember it." Over the next few days, Arjun met with builders, local leaders, and old friends. He began to organize resources, promising to use his wealth to help the town rebuild. He talked to the farmers who had lost their crops, the shopkeepers whose businesses had closed, and the children who no longer had a school to attend. "Together, we can bring Willow Creek back to life," Arjun said to each of them. Slowly, the people started to help. Some brought tools, others gave their time, and many shared stories of hope and courage. One morning, as Arjun worked alongside the neighbors to clear debris from the community center, a little girl named Mira approached him shyly. "Are you really going to fix this place?" she asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Arjun smiled warmly. "Yes, Mira. And when it's ready, you and all the children can come here to learn and play." Mira's smile grew brighter. "I want to help too." Her excitement spread to others, and soon, the town was alive with energy and determination. Meanwhile, Arjun spent many evenings with Mr. Ramesh, listening to his stories and learning more about the town's past. One night, Mr. Ramesh shared a secret with Arjun. "When I first took you in, I was poor but full of dreams. I wanted to give you a better life because I believed in hope. That hope is still alive, Arjun." Hearing those words made Arjun's heart feel full. He realized that no matter how far he had gone, his father's love and faith were the true foundation of his success. Days turned into weeks, and the community center began to take shape. Walls were repaired, windows cleaned, and a fresh coat of paint covered the old bricks. Arjun invited teachers and volunteers to come and help. Soon, the center was filled with children learning to read and write, women learning new skills, and men discussing ways to improve their farms and businesses. The town was waking up from a long sleep, and Arjun could see the change in every face he met. One afternoon, as he walked through the bustling market, an old friend named Ravi approached him. "Arjun, I didn't expect you back so soon," Ravi said with a smile. "I'm here to stay," Arjun replied. "This town needs all of us." Ravi nodded. "We've missed you. And we need you now more than ever." Despite the progress, not everything was easy. Some people were still skeptical, afraid that the changes would not last. One evening, as Arjun and Mr. Ramesh sat quietly on the porch, Arjun shared his worries. "Father, some people don't believe in this. They say I can't change the town with just money." Mr. Ramesh looked at him kindly. "Money alone cannot bring change, Arjun. It is your heart and actions that matter most." Arjun smiled. "I want to show them that change is possible." One day, Arjun received news that the local school was about to close because there were no funds to pay the teachers. He quickly called a meeting with the school staff and parents. "I will fund the school's needs," he promised. "No child here will have to stop learning." Tears of gratitude filled the eyes of the teachers and parents. That evening, Arjun stood by the window, looking out at the town. He felt a deep sense of responsibility but also hope. Weeks later, the first big event was held at the community center, a festival to celebrate the town's spirit. Music, laughter, and the smell of food filled the air. Children ran and played, adults shared stories, and for a moment, the pain and hardship of the past seemed far away. Mr. Ramesh watched Arjun with pride. "You have brought this town back to life." Arjun smiled, knowing the journey was only beginning. As the festival lights twinkled in the night sky, Arjun promised himself to never forget where he came from, and to always fight for the people who had shaped him. For the first time in many years, Willow Creek felt like home. The days in Willow Creek grew brighter with every passing moment. The laughter of children filled the air, and the community center buzzed with activity. Arjun felt a deep satisfaction watching the town come back to life, but he also knew that some shadows still lingered. One afternoon, as Arjun walked through the market, he noticed a group of men gathered near the old well, speaking in low voices. Their faces were serious, and Arjun felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard that some people were unhappy with the changes, afraid that the new plans would affect their small businesses or ways of life. Arjun decided to speak with them. He approached carefully and greeted them warmly. "Hello, friends," he said. "I want to hear your concerns. This town belongs to all of us." One man stepped forward. His name was Raju, a shopkeeper who had lived in Willow Creek for many years. "Arjun," Raju began, "we appreciate what you are doing, but some of us worry. We don't want this town to change too fast or lose its spirit. Sometimes, big money brings big problems." Arjun nodded thoughtfully. "I understand your worries, Raju. But I promise, I'm here to help, not to take away. This town's heart will always remain the same." The men looked at each other, still unsure. Arjun realized that winning their trust would take time. That evening, Arjun sat with Mr. Ramesh on the porch, watching the stars twinkle in the dark sky. "Father," Arjun said quietly, "some people are afraid of change. They don't trust me." Mr. Ramesh smiled gently. "That is natural, my son. People fear what they do not understand. You must be patient and show them your true intentions." Arjun took a deep breath. He knew the journey would not be easy, but he was determined to face every challenge. The next morning, Arjun decided to hold a town meeting at the community center. He wanted to listen to everyone's concerns and share his vision for the future. As people gathered, the room was filled with a mix of hope and doubt. Arjun stood at the front and spoke from his heart. "My friends," he began, "I came back to Willow Creek because I believe in this town and its people. I know times have been hard, but together, we can build a better future." He talked about plans for new jobs, better schools, and support for small businesses. "I want this town to grow in a way that respects its past and welcomes the future," he said. "Your voices matter. Tell me your fears and hopes." One by one, people spoke. Some worried about losing their land or traditions. Others shared dreams of a town where their children could thrive. Arjun listened carefully, taking notes and promising to address each concern. After the meeting, Raju came up to Arjun. "I see you truly care," he said slowly. "Maybe we can work together." Arjun smiled. "That is all I want." From that day, Arjun made a point to meet with the townspeople regularly. He visited the markets, farms, and homes, showing that he was not just a visitor but part of the community. Meanwhile, Mr. Ramesh's health began to worry Arjun. The long years of hardship had taken a toll, and sometimes Mr. Ramesh struggled to keep up. One morning, Arjun found his father sitting quietly by the window, looking tired. "Father, you need to rest and see a doctor," Arjun urged gently. Mr. Ramesh shook his head. "I don't want to trouble you with my illness." Arjun took his father's hand firmly. "You are the most important person to me. Your health is my priority." Reluctantly, Mr. Ramesh agreed. The doctor's visit was a turning point. Mr. Ramesh was diagnosed with a condition that required care and attention, but with proper treatment, he could recover. Arjun arranged for the best care and stayed by his father's side during the difficult days. The town also came together to support them, bringing food and sharing stories to lift their spirits. One evening, as Arjun sat with Mr. Ramesh, the old man smiled weakly. "Son, you have brought light back into my life and the town's. I am proud of you." Arjun felt tears in his eyes. "You taught me everything, father. This is our journey." As weeks passed, the bond between father and son grew stronger. Arjun found new strength in his father's courage and the town's spirit. However, he also knew that the road ahead still held challenges. One day, while visiting the market, Arjun overheard a conversation that troubled him. Two men were talking about a plan to buy the land around Willow Creek from the owners and build factories. This would bring money but also change the town forever. Arjun felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. The very future he wanted to protect might be at risk. He realized he needed to act fast, not just for his father but for everyone who called Willow Creek home. That night, Arjun sat alone, thinking deeply. The dreams of his childhood, the struggles of his father, and the hopes of the town all came together in his heart. He made a decision. "I will fight for this town," he whispered to himself. Not with anger or force, but with love and truth. The next morning, Arjun called a meeting with the town leaders and business owners. He shared what he had heard and asked for their thoughts. Together, they began to plan how to protect their homes and culture while welcoming progress that would benefit everyone. Arjun's words inspired the group. "We can build a future that honors the past," he said. "We just need to work together." The people of Willow Creek felt a renewed sense of hope and strength. They knew the road would not be easy, but with Arjun's leadership and their unity, they were ready to face whatever came next. The days that followed were busy and filled with purpose. Arjun worked hard to unite the people of Willow Creek. He knew the future of the town depended on their ability to come together. Arjun spent his mornings meeting with farmers, shopkeepers, and teachers. He listened carefully as they shared their worries and hopes. He wanted everyone to feel heard, respected, and part of the plan. One afternoon, Arjun gathered a group of town leaders in the community center. The walls, once cracked and worn, now glowed with fresh paint and the promise of new beginnings. The room was full of people determined to protect their home. Arjun stood in front of them and spoke with quiet strength. "We cannot stop progress, but we can guide it. We will protect what makes Willow Creek special: its people, its history, and its spirit. Together, we will find a way." The crowd nodded, and a feeling of unity filled the room. Arjun also reached out to the people planning to buy land and build factories. He invited them to visit the town and meet its residents. At first, the business owners were unsure. They saw the land as a chance for profit and growth. But when they walked through the streets, saw the hard-working farmers, and listened to the children's laughter at the community center, something changed. Arjun spoke honestly to the business owners. "We want progress, but not at the cost of our home. There must be a way to grow that respects the town's soul." Moved by Arjun's words and the town's spirit, the business leaders agreed to work with the community. They promised to find ways to bring jobs and opportunities without harming the environment or displacing families. Meanwhile, Arjun continued caring for Mr. Ramesh. The old man's health was slowly improving, but he was still weak. One evening, as they sat together in the quiet room, Mr. Ramesh smiled softly. "You have done more than I ever dreamed, Arjun. You have brought life back to this town." Arjun took his father's hand gently. "I couldn't have done it without you." You gave me hope when I was young. Now, it's our turn to give hope back. They shared a quiet moment, surrounded by the sounds of the town they loved. The town's transformation was not without challenges. Some people still doubted the changes, and a few conflicts arose over land and new rules. One day, a disagreement between two neighbors grew loud and tense. Arjun quickly stepped in to calm the situation. "We must remember why we are here," he said calmly. "This is a place of kindness and respect. We will solve our problems with open hearts, not anger." His words reminded everyone of the community's strength. Arjun also organized training programs for farmers to learn new techniques and improve their harvests. He arranged workshops for shopkeepers to help grow their businesses, and classes for women to learn crafts and skills. The community center became a busy place full of learning and laughter. Children who had once stopped dreaming now looked forward to school each day. Adults found new ways to support their families. One afternoon, Arjun visited the market and saw a young boy selling fruits. The boy's name was Rahul, and he reminded Arjun of himself as a child, hopeful but facing many struggles. Arjun stopped and spoke to Rahul. "Keep working hard, young man. The future is yours." Rahul smiled shyly. "Thank you, sir. I want to help my family." Arjun placed a hand on Rahul's shoulder. "You will. And I will help you." As the seasons changed, Willow Creek grew stronger. The farms flourished, small businesses thrived, and the community center became a place of joy and support. One morning, Arjun received a letter from a city newspaper. A reporter wanted to write a story about the town's remarkable change and the man who had returned to make a difference. Arjun was hesitant but agreed. He hoped the story would inspire others to believe in hope and kindness. The day the reporter arrived, Arjun took her on a tour of the town. They visited the community center, the farms, and the market. The reporter spoke to many people and heard their stories of struggle and hope. Arjun watched as the townspeople shared their smiles and dreams. He knew this was just the beginning. That evening, as the sun set over Willow Creek, Arjun stood with Mr. Ramesh on the porch. "Father," Arjun said, "we have come far, but there is still much to do." Mr. Ramesh nodded. "Yes, but the future looks bright. Because of you." Arjun smiled. "Because of us." The journey had not been easy, but Arjun had learned that with love, patience, and unity, even the darkest times could be overcome. Willow Creek was no longer just a place on a map. It was a home full of hope, dreams, and the promise of a better tomorrow. Spring had arrived in Willow Creek, bringing with it new life and energy. Flowers blossomed along the streets, and the trees wore their greenest leaves. The town was no longer quiet and lonely, it was alive with work, laughter, and hope. Arjun's efforts had made a difference, but he knew that true change was more than buildings and money. It was about the spirit of the people. One morning, Arjun stood outside the community center, watching children play in the yard. Their bright faces reminded him of his own childhood and the promises he had made. But deep inside, Arjun felt a whisper of worry. He knew that tests would come, and the road ahead would not always be smooth. That very afternoon, news arrived that a powerful storm was approaching Willow Creek. The weather forecast warned of heavy rain and strong winds that could cause floods and damage. The townspeople gathered in the community center to discuss the situation. Some were scared, remembering the floods from years ago that had destroyed crops and homes. Arjun stepped forward, calm but serious. "We have prepared for challenges like this. Together, we will face the storm and protect our town." He organized teams to secure the farms, reinforce homes, and help those most vulnerable. Volunteers came forward, ready to work through the night. As the storm hit, rain poured heavily, and wind howled through the trees. Arjun and the townspeople worked tirelessly to protect each other. At one point, Arjun noticed an old bridge near the river was about to collapse. Without hesitation, he gathered a group of men to strengthen it with sandbags and wooden supports. During the hardest hours of the storm, Arjun worried about his father, who was alone in their small home near the edge of town. He called out to Mr. Ramesh over the phone. "Father, are you safe?" "I am, my son," Mr. Ramesh replied softly. "Don't worry about me. Take care of the town." Arjun's heart ached, but he knew he had to keep going. When the storm finally passed, the town breathed a sigh of relief. The damage was less than expected, thanks to their preparation and teamwork. However, some homes and farms were still hurt, and the river had flooded parts of the fields. Arjun walked through the streets, offering help and encouragement. "We will rebuild. This is only a test, not the end." That evening, as the town gathered in the community center, Arjun shared plans for repair and recovery. He promised to use his resources to help farmers replant crops, fix homes, and support families. The people's faces showed tiredness but also determination. They clapped and cheered, ready to start again. Mr. Ramesh sat beside Arjun, his hand in his son's. "You have brought hope to this town, Arjun. Even in the hardest times, you never gave up." Arjun smiled, feeling the strength of his father's faith. In the days that followed, the town worked side by side. Farmers helped one another replant, neighbors repaired roofs, and children cleaned up the streets. Arjun made sure no family was left behind. He organized food supplies and medical aid and even arranged for teachers to keep the schools open despite the setbacks. One afternoon, while helping rebuild a house, Arjun met an elderly woman named Mrs. Sharma. She had lost much in the flood and felt discouraged. Arjun knelt beside her and said kindly, "Mrs. Sharma, your strength inspires us all. We will make sure your home is safe again." Tears welled in her eyes. "Thank you, Arjun. You have given us more than help, you have given us hope." As weeks passed, Willow Creek healed. The fields grew green again, and the houses stood strong. The storm had tested their spirit, but the town had stood firm. Arjun felt a deep sense of pride, but he also understood that true leadership was about staying humble and caring for others. One evening, as he walked with Mr. Ramesh under the stars, Arjun spoke softly. "Father, this storm reminded me that life is fragile. We must always be ready to face challenges with courage and heart." Mr. Ramesh nodded. "And you, my son, have shown us all the meaning of courage." Just as the town celebrated its recovery, a new opportunity arrived. A nearby city wanted to partner with Willow Creek to create a small industry that would provide jobs and bring growth, carefully designed to protect the environment and culture. Arjun saw this as the chance to build a future that balanced progress and tradition. He called a town meeting to discuss the proposal. "This could be the beginning of a new chapter for Willow Creek," Arjun said. "But we must decide together how to move forward." The townspeople debated with passion. Some were excited about jobs and new opportunities. Others worried about change and losing the town's soul. Arjun listened to every voice and reminded everyone of the town's strength. "We will take this step only if it respects our home and people," he said firmly. "Together, we will protect what matters." The vote was held, and the town agreed to explore the partnership, with clear conditions to preserve Willow Creek's spirit. Arjun felt a wave of relief and hope. He knew the path ahead would require care and patience, but the town was ready. That night, as Arjun sat by the window, he thought about the journey so far, the struggles, the storms, the love that kept them strong. He knew the road was long, but with faith, unity, and hope, Willow Creek's future was bright. The sun rose gently over Willow Creek, painting the sky with soft shades of pink and orange. The town, once quiet and worn, now buzzed with energy and promise. Arjun stood outside the community center, watching the familiar faces of neighbors and friends. Their smiles were brighter, their steps lighter, and their hearts fuller. After all the struggles, the storms, and the doubts, Willow Creek was coming alive again. And Arjun, once a boy who had left to chase dreams far away, had returned not just as a visitor but as a son, a leader, and a part of the community's heart. The morning was special. Today was the day Arjun planned to officially open the new school building, a place filled with books, laughter, and hope. The old school had been rebuilt stronger and bigger, a symbol of the town's future. People gathered around, children holding colorful banners, parents smiling proudly. Mr. Ramesh, though still weak, sat in the front row with a peaceful smile. Arjun took a deep breath and stepped up to the small stage. Today is not just about a building, he said warmly. It is about a promise to every child in Willow Creek that they deserve a chance to learn, grow, and dream. The crowd cheered, and Arjun's heart swelled with joy. As the ceremony ended, Arjun walked through the town. He stopped at the market, where vendors were busy preparing fresh fruits and vegetables. The air was filled with the scent of spices and the sound of friendly chatter. He noticed Raju, the shopkeeper who had once doubted change, arranging his shelves with care. "Raju," Arjun called, "how is business?" Raju smiled. "Better than ever, thanks to you. The town believes again." Arjun nodded. "It's all of us, working together." Later, Arjun visited the farms that had once been flooded by the storm. Now, the fields were green and full of promise. Farmers worked side by side, sharing new ideas and tools. One farmer, Lakshmi, approached Arjun. "Your support helped us recover," she said. "We are ready for the future." Arjun smiled. "And the future is bright because of you." As evening fell, Arjun returned home to Mr. Ramesh. The old man was sitting by the fire, his eyes reflecting the soft glow. "Son," Mr. Ramesh said gently, "you have done more than I ever imagined. You have brought hope to this town and to me." Arjun took his father's hand. "I only did what you taught me, to never give up on people, to believe in kindness, and to always come home." Mr. Ramesh's eyes filled with tears. "I am proud of you, Arjun." The days turned into weeks, and Willow Creek continued to grow. The partnership with the city brought new jobs, but it was done with respect for the land and the people. The town's soul remained strong. Arjun often walked through the streets, greeting neighbors, helping wherever he could, and listening to stories. One afternoon, he saw Rahul, the young boy selling fruits, now helping his family with a confident smile. "You're doing well, Rahul," Arjun said. Rahul looked up and grinned. "I want to be like you someday." Arjun laughed softly. "You will be better." One quiet evening, Arjun stood on a hill overlooking the town. The lights twinkled below like stars, and the peaceful silence wrapped around him like a warm blanket. He thought about the journey, the years away, the return, the struggles and the triumphs. Arjun whispered to the night, "This is home. This is where my heart is." The next day, Arjun gathered the town for a special celebration, a festival to honor their journey and the future ahead. Music filled the air, children danced, and the community shared food and stories. There was laughter and tears of joy. Mr. Ramesh stood beside Arjun, his smile radiant. "This town is alive because of love," he said. Arjun looked around at the faces, shining with hope. "We built this together. And together, we will keep building." As the festival lights faded and the stars took their place in the sky, Arjun felt a deep peace. He had found success, but more importantly, he had found home.